Alright, so I know that it's been quite some time since my last video. It's about 2 years or so. I'm here back again giving you guys a market update. But before I give the market update, just to be fair to the rest of you guys, this is quite a long, outdated live update for myself because I got hacked, which is one of the main reason why I stopped uploading videos back in, I think, 2023 December, if I'm not mistaken. My computer got compromised. I lost the password for my YouTube. I lost the password for my Facebook. Even for my Meta wallet, I lost about 6 Ethereum. Back then, it wasn't worth a lot, but clearly today it's worth a substantial amount. But anyway, that aside, because recently I've been posting more frequently on the platform called Moomoo, also known as Futu. If you are interested in getting some free stocks, link down in the description box down below as well. But anyway, let's get back to the market, right? So if you're watching this video today or in this recent time, you probably know that we are in very, very uncertain time in the market right now. So I think if we want to really unpackage this whole entire US market at the moment, you already know that there is a lot of uncertainty in this market. However, the index is still cruising near all-time high. Right now, the S&P is very, very close to hitting its all-time high. It's about less than 5% away from hitting its all-time high. And this is regardless of the fact that you're looking at all these different headwinds that's ahead of us for this whole entire market. So today I will just kind of go through some of the consideration point for this current market, and we can see how you can maneuver around this market as well. Right. So firstly, my point is that US is currently uninvestable. Okay. Like I said earlier, there's a lot more headwinds than there are tailwinds, right? You get to lose a lot more money than you get to win. At the moment, for example, if you just look at the recent Nvidia earnings, a humongous beat. Okay, I talked about it on Moomoo, I talked about it on my Instagram, and I basically was telling you guys before the earnings even come out, Nvidia is going to be beating the earnings without a doubt. They're going to beat expectation. They're going to be getting about 90 cents or so. I really expected that to happen, okay? It's pretty obvious, to be honest. We already know that Nvidia is going to be doing really, really well. However, the market is not going to be expecting Nvidia to be this forever lasting, one of the best company in the world to go on forever. And that's the issue, right? Because currently Nvidia is already sitting at about $135. This is before earnings came out, right? At about 135, 136. It's true, when earnings came out, Nvidia went up to like 142. And then I even said, I'm buying puts into this. And I know that I lost a little bit of money, because the thing is that even though I got into puts for it, it is going to be expiring this Friday. Effectively, I did lose money on the theta simply because there was a up spike and then the down spiral afterwards. So generally, I kind of just lost money on that one small momentum, right? But I did not lose a lot of money because generally it is still well within my strike price. I'm going to be selling it soon. When Nvidia drops to about maybe 130, I probably would be able to break even, and I'm going to get out there. But what I'm trying to explain to you guys is that Nvidia basically did 68% beat on top of whatever earnings that they really had, right? This is considered the top company in the world right now, beating on expectation, on EPS, on top line, on bottom line, on everything. They're doing really, really well. They just signed new deals with Abu Dhabi to do a lot of the different chip sector in the Middle East. They're talking about H20 to China, despite the fact that it's probably not really that good of a deal to want to go with the H20 chips to China, because personally, I think Huawei is probably going to be ramping up production for the fact that for China to have a better chip sector anyway. Nvidia probably is going to be losing out on a lot of market share unless they were to bump out the H100, which of course with the Trump administration, they're not going to be allowing that. So with such a good company doing everything that it can, literally a day later, right now, okay, today is a Monday as I'm recording this, right? It is $133, and it is probably going to be going down even more. Okay, so personally, like I said, I don't think that there is a lot to win, but there is a lot for you to lose. So for example, if for example, if today you invested money into Nvidia thinking that Nvidia is going to be winning, Nvidia is going to be beating 3 more earnings report in the near future, yeah, I'm pretty sure they are, but the PE valuation is pretty high at the moment, and I think that the current economy is not able to withstand this much, this high of a PE ratio, which is why I'm starting to look at a lot of different companies, and if they have a very atrocious PE ratio, that is where I would like to slide in some puts option, which I have already been doing for about late next year, right? But anyway, that's besides the point. Okay, so the next thing is that US exceptionalism is on the low. So I think you probably would have found out. For myself, I'm a Singaporean. I invest greatly into the US market. If anything, a huge part of my portfolio is in the US market, other than other commodities that I have, like for example watches, my real estate, things like that. But everything else is all in the US market. So for the US market itself, we probably know, for Singaporean like myself, we invest a lot of money in the US market, and the foreign exchange currency is the one that's destroying us, right? Because bond yield continues to spike and the dollar is continuously going down. Okay, every single time there's a good news, the dollar goes down. There's bad news, the dollar goes down. Nothing is triggering the dollar to kind of have a good spike up in return again. Right now, the dollar is starting to reach at the 2014 level. Okay, mind you, that's about 11 years ago. Okay, just in case people like myself was thinking, oh yeah, 2014, 6 years ago. It's 11 years ago. Okay, which means that the dollar is steadily declining. Okay, we basically lost one whole year of, one whole decade of progression for the dollar. So, and finally, the biggest headwind of them all, I think, is pretty obvious: Trump. Okay, it doesn't matter if you like the guy, you don't like the guy. To me, I don't really care, because to me, when I'm investing in the US market, I want to see who is the head of the ship, and then I will decide how I will be trading or how I'll be investing my money from there on out. Okay, again, like I said, I'm not an American. Okay, so of course my livelihood is not directly being impacted by whoever the president is, especially when I can just trade this market quite easily. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room with what Trump has brought forward with his new presidency, right? Tariffs. Okay, is tariff bad? No, not really. Is tariff good? No, not really either. But tariff is a very useful vehicle where a lot of presidents from a lot of different countries all over the globe has been using to ensure trade agreements turns out favorable for themselves. So, you know, previously, I think, the 4th of April, right, we had the whole tariff trade, and then afterwards we have the pausing of the tariff trade, followed with the easing of the China trade deal trade, and then we got the EU delaying tariff trade, and then the taco trade, okay, which is Trump always chicken out. So the issue that I see now is that people are constantly going to be calling out Trump's bluff. Every single time he play a new hand, people are going to call out his bluff, and because they have seen it happen again and again. They have seen it with the first pause, they have seen it with China's pause, and now with the EU delay as well. People are starting to lose confidence that Trump is willing to go all the way with all these different countries and be strict about it. And of course, in Trump's favor, a lot of people probably would say, yeah, it makes sense, because Trump is trying to negotiate for better terms. Trump do not want to continue to hit on all these different tariffs and make it unplayable for every players in the globe. However, the issue is Trump do not have a strawman in this. he do not have someone that he's hammering down so hard and say that we're not going to be trading with you no matter what. And I personally thought that was going to be EU, right? Because EU decided not to come to the negotiating table, despite the fact that when China was constantly increasing the tariffs against the US, EU did not do anything either. EU instead also went up in tariffs, but US completely just ignored them. And then when the pause happened, EU was just left out in the dust. No one know what happened with EU. There's no talks whatsoever, right? So I thought that EU was going to be the strongman that Trump would want to put out and just like send back this EU to show the rest of the world, this is what's going to happen if you do not deal with Trump. You are going to be like EU. But the issue is with the delay of the EU trade talk, because previously it was meant to be happening on the 1st of June, which was yesterday, right? But the thing is that because that didn't happen, Trump agreed to move this possible trade talk all the way to 9th of July. So a delay of this whole tariff that Trump was talking about, how it would possibly go up to 50%. So clearly now people are calling it the taco trade, right? Trump always chickens out. So how this taco trade generally works is that if the next time Trump is going to say, I am going to throw out, I don't know, like 80% tariffs on Narnia, right? If he were to say that, people are going to start buying calls, people are going to start buying stocks the moment it starts to go down, because people are not going to care anymore. People know for a fact that a trade deal is going to happen with Trump stepping down, which is Trump chickening out. And when that happens, they are going to get the rise back up again, right? So that's where my concern is. If the S&P at the moment is at near all-time high, and we still have all this different uncertainty in the market, is this really a good time for you to be investing? So that's where it becomes a little bit dangerous. And of course, with the whole trade courts making his tariffs unconstitutional, I think that helped to spike the market for a day. That was right after that happened. You know, Trump basically managed to get them to back off, because the president would be able to impose tariffs in many different ways that would be way worse. So the trade courts basically saying, okay, you know what, yeah, it's fine. Trump, you can continue to do whatever it is, right? So I'm just saying, you know, personally, I think that I like Trump being the president of the United States, because I get to trade on his ego. I managed to make 16 consecutive correct trades based on Trump's ego. But of course, you know, you win some, you lose some. And recently I made, I think, about 3 losing trades. One of them being the EU trade talk, right? Because like I said before, I thought that the EU is going to be the sandbag of this whole situation. And Trump is just going to bag on EU, raise them to 50% tariff, not talk to them because they are not going to be talking to Trump. And this is going to be setting the tone that Trump is serious about ensuring that US exceptionalism is going back up. And I thought that's what's going to be happening. But after the whole Trump saying that, okay, you know what, we're going to delay this talk because EU wants us to delay this talk, simply just wiped off the whole entire thing, which is why it brought over this taco trade. So yeah, you know, honestly, you win some, you lose some. I did lose a bit of money, but hey man, you know, I'm still 16 consecutive trades up. I think in total for this year, I am about close to 30 trades up at the moment. So feeling really good about this market as of now. But as I have explained on my Instagram and on Moomoo, I am intending to go into allocation mode, which I'll talk about more later. But anyway, right now, simply put, I am currently holding long-term puts in some companies right now. Like I said earlier, these are all expiring late 2026. These are very, very long-term puts to me because I don't really care. Because these are just the headwinds that I see in this current market economy. I don't think that there's a lot of tailwind in this market. Just because you get rid of tariffs, nothing really happens, right? So the way my brain is thinking of this is that what would significantly change this entire market so much that makes me think that, oh, I want to all in into this market. Because right now you can say that maybe if tariffs were to be completely gone tomorrow, Would I all into this market? I probably not, because a recession is still looming. We have not gotten a proper recession since 2008, right? The small recession that we had in 2018 was barely anything. The recession that we had in 2020 was immediately bounced back with all the stimulus that Jerome Powell put into the market. The small recession that we had in 2022 due to the hyperinflation from the stimulus that was actually going into the market was also completely retraced back again. So there's not much of a recession that is going on, but I think that the market at the moment is pretty lofty, right? Prices of a lot of different companies, there are still companies out there with 60 PE ratio, 75 PE ratio. Those are the companies that I'm looking out for. Okay, those are the companies that I want to be shorting them in terms of buying puts. So of course, for people who are unaware, buying puts and shorting is basically doing the same direction to hope for it to kind of go down. However, the main difference is when you're shorting a company, you are directly going against the company and you stand to lose more than you invest. Buying puts in a company, you're not directly affecting the price of the market itself. However, at the same time, it means that whatever that you're doing is basically putting a bet on how the market is moving. You're not going to be affecting it at all, right? And the good side of it, is that you stand to only lose whatever amount of money that you invested in. So for example, if you invested $1,000 in the puts, that's all you're going to lose. You're going to lose $1,000. That's about it. That's as much as you can lose. But when you do short, okay, you can lose up to like 200%. So be prepared to lose a lot of money if you want to go on a shorting spree with different companies. Personally, I like to go with puts. I think the leverage play is a lot more safer for me, especially with puts. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Okay, but anyway, I know some of my audience came from Moomoo, which some of you actually DM'd me, even replied to some of my posts on Moomoo asking me to explain more about my options trade, right? So please leave it down in the comment section down below on like what you like to know more about options, because I'm not sure what you guys want me to explain more about. So for example, it could be like find a ticker to trade on, like why do I want to trade Nvidia during this particular trade? Why do I want to trade a MicroStrategy? Why do I want to trade SPY? Why do I want to trade SQQQ? There's all this different kind of ticker that you might be interested in. Or it could be like the delta and theta stuff. That's more to the maths side of things, like how I see a certain delta before I buy into this option, or the strategy on when you want to get in and out, that kind of thing, right? Because it could be, you might be interested in like why do I want to get into buying a call, or why do I want to get into selling a put? When I'm bullish, when I'm bearish, things of that nature, right? So yeah, just basically tell me what you guys want more of, and then, you know, to the best of my knowledge, I will try my best to make a video on it. Right now, I think my knowledge on options is rather basic. However, I like to read a lot about it, so I have a basic general understanding on what I'm doing when I'm trading. And I guess it seems to be working for the whole year anyway. Right now, I managed to make about $320,000 in profit for the year, which in US dollars, it's about 280,000, I think. Yeah, but anyway, you know, I'm not gonna be too greedy, picking on various options to play every single day, because of course this is very dangerous. I would only be doing this on high volatility events in the short term for me to try to profit off of it, right? So it could be a Trump trade, it could be earnings call that I'm interested in. Of course, for earnings, I think it's going to be a very iffy one, right? I'm not going to be trading on every single earnings. Otherwise, when earnings season comes, I have to be deploying a huge amount of capital on all these different companies that I'm interested in. But that's not going to be the case, because for myself, I like to be trading into companies that I know the specifics of. For example, like Nvidia, I know the company well. I like the company. Even if you look at my channel, you can probably find a video that I think I posted in 2021. Like I was kind of making like a video where I was saying, you know, if I'm gonna pick 5 different stocks to hold forever, Nvidia was one of them, Palantir was one of them, and just look at them, right? Two crazy companies that's in the horizon as well. So yeah, Otherwise, like I said earlier, I'm going to be going into allocation mode. So I will be siphoning out a good part of those profits and going it into my main portfolio. And of course, if you're interested in what I'm holding in my main portfolio as well, do leave a comment down below. But anyway, I think that's it for this video. I think it's gonna be a really quick video, kind of just telling you guys that I'm back for from this whole entire fiasco with this whole hacking stuff. But yeah, anyway, right now I still have some personal stuff that I need to attend to, so videos are not going to be coming out as frequently. And also I'm still doing my day job as a renovation and interior designer, so I still have multiple projects ongoing, but I am very interested in talking about the market. Now of course I make a lot of my money from the market rather than my day job, but my day job is just kind of like my own it's my own business, so I have to kind of still take care of it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.